Hey, what's up, guys? Jackson here with Toasty DIY. Hopefully, it's not too windy so you guys can actually hear. But this is my 1980. Zach and I actually bought this together. We just went half in on it. It's like a little project car, but this is a 1980 280ZX. Obviously, Datsun slash Nissan. But we got it for a really good deal, at least in my opinion, a good deal. But the main concept of it is to flip it pretty much. It doesn't run or drive at the moment. I'll go ahead and pop the hood here. As you can see, just like all Datsuns, it's missing the little plastic handle that breaks off on them. And I'll get to the interior in just a second too. The interior in this thing's actually really good shape. Let me see if I can get this open here. But so right now I actually have the engine partially apart because, like I said, it doesn't currently run, and the issue is you can only spin the crank about I would say a quarter of a turn either way. And obviously we try to hit the starter motor, it's also locked up. Now it's not that the cylinders are frozen or anything, it's not rust, because the kid was driving this not even a year ago who owned it, and he heard a really loud pop and then the engine would never turn over again. So I bought this with intentions of either fixing the engine that's in it or having to replace it, which I have one right over here that came out of my Z that's a 78. Very, very similar engines and everything, and even if it's not, it's good enough to get it running and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, as far as the engine goes, I mean, there's a lot of corrosion on like the aluminum parts, but all that stuff comes off. I mean, really, the car only has about 144,000 miles on it, and it's actually in really good shape. I mean, as far as this car goes compared to my 78, there's a lot less rust on it. As you can see, I mean, the hood is like immaculate. I mean, there's like, well, besides this spot right here that I just noticed that looks like it was hit by something and then tried to get repainted. But and obviously we have the typical, sorry about this one, guys, we have the typical battery tray rust. It's not terrible. I mean, everything's still there, the shape and everything, so I think that it can either be rebuilt or just replaced. I mean, these things are really easy to kind of fab up yourself. But I already have, I have the valve cover off and most of the head off and everything. Sadly, you can't really see anything wrong with the valve cover. All the pistons still move a quarter of a turn either way, but there's something, either there's a valve that's binding up and bent, or there's something going on in the crank area. I'm hoping it's not the crank area. Timing chain and everything's still connected as well, so I'm not really sure yet. I'm really praying and thinking it's a bent valve, but we'll see. Yeah, I got all the fuel injection stuff off last night. It's like really cold though. It's like 30 out right now, I believe. Which for some people might not be that cold, but for me it's pretty cold. It did come with the factory ZX rims, which, really happy about that. These things are really nice, and they're actually worth a, decent penny to get. They're not in the best of shape, though, a lot of the paint's coming off and whatnot. But as far as the body goes, it's in really good shape. I think there's some rust in the typical spots, and we have some bubbling and stuff. There's really not major body work done in this car, though, luckily. These, surprisingly, are in good shape. These are always, like, bonded and body works to hell. But yeah, typical like rocker panel rust and everything. Nothing I'm really that worried about. Like I said, I don't plan on really keeping the car. I plan on just fixing it up and selling it. I was amazed how much more room the 280ZXs have in the hatch. They have a lot of room. Still got the gas cap and everything. Yeah, rims matching all the way around. I'll show you guys the interior real quick though, because that's where a lot of the money is as well. So the door skins are actually in pretty decent shape. They're not perfect, but they're good shape. I'm really excited about the seats. The seats look like this all the way up. I mean, the seats are in like immaculate shape compared to the rest of the car. The dash does not have any cracks in it, which that's another really awesome feature. I don't know if the ZXs had that big of a problem with the cracked dashes, but I know all the Zs did. Center console's all still there. A bunch of gross sunflower seeds. Someone added this Pioneer stereo with like a custom-made aluminum backing plate. That might have even been like a dealer option or something to get that plate made, or an aftermarket online thing. But yeah, dash is there. I had the clamshell and everything. I think the key actually broke, so I think the kid took the steering column apart to keep the steering wheel from locking, and he could just start it using the ignition without the ignition switch without the actual ignition locking mechanism. But yeah, overall this thing's in really good shape interior wise. It's a little nasty back there and missing some panels, but like I said though, for the price that we got it, in my personal opinion, I think this will be a pretty good flip. But I'm not expecting to like triple or quadruple the money necessarily without a lot of work. But I think though, if I can get it just back in running shape and everything, clean everything up and properly put it all back together, I think it's potential to you know, get double, maybe triple the money, just having it running rather than not running with a locked up motor. So yeah, you know, I would like to show you guys more on it. The underside does look really good too. The floor pans do need a couple of patches towards like the very front, like firewall area, like most of these do. But besides that, there's never been any patches put on this car. I mean, like I said, everything's mostly original. You should have seen me before I took everything apart. I mean, this engine bay, there was still like factory, you know, harness holders everywhere, which mine doesn't even have, and factory zip ties everywhere. I mean, it was, you could tell the engine was very untouched. You know, really no modifications done anywhere on it. So yeah, you know, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll try to keep you guys updated on this one. As far as my other Z goes, it's actually in the garage. That harness should be here like any day now. Sadly, I've had to wait a little bit longer than 6 weeks for the holidays. I think I'm coming up on like 7 or 8 weeks now from the Godzilla Works harnesses. I mean, it's not a huge deal to me. Like I said, it's freezing out anyways. I'm not going to be driving the car, so more power for them to, you know, get it done nice and correctly. So, you know, I'm not too worried about it. But hopefully, I'll have a video of that to you guys very soon of it actually running. I'm probably more excited than anyone else is. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one.